Andrew, welcome to the GROUPEX podcast, mate. It's good to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Tony. I appreciate it.
No, not a problem, man. Now, I've done this in the last couple. I'm going to do it again now. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. Yeah. The reason I say that is I could sit here and I could rattle off a whole lot of stuff, but I found that it's a little bit more engaging when my guest turns around and has a little blurb on themselves. So, mate, can you please let us know a little bit about you, how you got into what you're doing today?
My name's Andrew Zarunas. I'm the Director of Fitness Audio. We're a company that base our business model off audio and lighting solutions for the fitness industry. I guess I got into this 20 plus years ago, always had a passion for audio, always liked to get into that world. So I went for a job here 20 odd years ago and I'm still here. And
Love
I
it.
guess that's how it came about.
That's probably the most simple and straightforward response that I've had when I've asked someone. So I appreciate that as well. Sometimes I'm sitting here going 20 minutes later. Oh, great. Yeah. Okay. So no, I appreciate it because it is what you just said is very straightforward. But in relation to the fitness industry, were you ever involved in the industry specific outside of audio stuff? Like, did you ever do PT or teach or anything like that within a?
No, I didn't have any involvement in fitness apart from visiting gyms.
Yep.
So it was never an avenue, I guess, I considered of audio solutions for the fitness industry. That was just a job that I went for. I knew I liked audio, and it became very, I guess, appealing to me because of the nicheness of it. Like we were solving solutions for a problem at the time that I didn't know existed: sweaty instructors and.
Yep. And there are some out there that are sweatier than others, that's for sure.
Yes.
Mate, I'm going to ask a couple of questions that just to give us a bit of a background on fitness audio. Can you share a bit about the history of fitness audio? Like, how did the company start and what was the initial inspiration behind creating equipment for the industry?
Okay, so about 30 odd years ago, John Penhallow, who you know, he used to run a normal audio company, just used to do normal audio jobs. And one of his clients became a gym. And every microphone he would supply him, they would wreck within 2 or 3 weeks. And John tried to find something that would last, and we just couldn't find it. So another partner of ours, Peter, who's an engineer, got involved, and John said to him, well, why don't you invent something that's sweat resistant? And so he did. And then, came the business model of, okay, audio solutions for the fitness industry. No one's doing it. Let's do it. And it started way back then. It evolves all the time. We're working on products at the moment now to further enhance what we do. So yeah, I guess it's a problem that not many companies want to solve, whereas it's our whole business model.
Yeah. While we're here, I just want to have a shout out to Mr. Penhallow as well. Lives up the road, not too far from where I am. So, John, I hope you're listening to this one, mate, and I hope you're well, because he's gone into retirement, but I understand. He's decided to sit back and have a bit of cafe latte every morning.
Yes, he has. He's earned his well-deserved retirement.
Hasn't he? What?
Been working here for a long time, so I think it was time for him to spend a bit more time with his wife and travel the world, even more so than he already did.
Yep. No. A gentleman and, a good mate as well. Unique challenges. What are some of the unique challenges you face when designing audio equipment for the fitness industry? And can you share some of those with us?
Yeah, so I guess I touched on one of the biggest factors, and it's sweat. Not a lot of electronics worry about sweat. You will find a lot of electronics in all industries that say water resistant, waterproof, etc. It's actually really easy to make to make any product water resistant. That's very easy. But making it sweat resistant is a whole different ball game. There's a lot of corrosiveness within sweat, a lot of nasties that eat away at electronics that water won't. If you just put a coat in, the water goes on, it comes off. With sweat, it actually eats it away. It causes corrosion, which causes a lot of issues. So I guess that's what we focus on from a technology standpoint, on what the instructor's touching: sweat-resistant transmitters, sweat-resistant microphones. Robustness is an important thing. If you're selling a microphone system to a church or a school, they're normally pretty gentle with them. They're not jumping around. They're definitely not sweating. So you don't have to consider those things. But with us, it's all about how rough is the instructor, how sweaty are they, and then on the flip side of it is how the system works. So there's a lot of complicated systems out there, which I found out 20 years ago are no good for fitness instructors.
Yep.
So we try and develop all our systems to be really, really simple. We have our own mixer range, which has very limited dials and buttons, because if they're there, the instructors will push them, they'll press them, they'll turn them, and they'll wreck the system.
So true. So true. That was one of my pet peeves in North Sydney many, many years ago. I was like, guys, don't. I'm going to pull the buttons off. Do not touch anything.
Correct.
All you need is volume. Yeah. Don't touch the bass. Don't touch the treble. Don't touch the EQ. Just your volume up and down. We're good. We're good.
Yeah. So yeah, we develop our mixers. We had to create our own mixers because all the ones on the market had too many dials and buttons. So that's where we created the brand Fitness Audio, which has approximately 16 products, all our products designed by us, manufactured overseas and distributed globally. So every product has been designed for fitness. It's not like, oh, we can use this here. This is for a fitness instructor. This is to mix voice and music. This transmitter's sweat resistant. This headset's sweat resistant. Everything we do is simple and robust.
Yep. You mentioned something there, which I'm going to giggle with now as well. The instructors being rough on equipment. We're not rough on equipment.
How many exhibits do you want me to bring upstairs and show you?
I could only imagine the stuff you'd have in what I'd class as the cemetery, or that part of the building that is, we can't use that anymore. And you can understand why, because instructors have destroyed. Look, that was one thing I remember big time back in North Sydney days, is that we'd get a brand new headset, and by that afternoon, someone had bent it already. It's like, what? Please, guys, why? Yeah, we've all been told how to wear these things properly. Yeah, you need to have them a certain distance away from your face, all that kind of stuff. But no, they want to sit on the microphone, so it's like, come on, guys, seriously. I think most of us have got it now, apart from maybe some newbies that need some help. But
it's the reason we had to print on that particular model that you're referring to, the Aeromic and Cyclomic, do not bend.
Yeah,
we didn't want to write "do not bend" on our microphone, but no one was reading the manual, no one was listening, so we put it right there. But I can show you about 200 pictures of microphones that say "do not bend," and that bit is bent everywhere.
We are group exercise instructors. We only count to 8.
No, well, this is the thing, right? And it's what I say to my customers when they ring up and I'm sorry, I didn't know. And it's like, you don't have to know how to use the stuff, right? You're not tech. You don't have to know about audio.
Yep.
So we try and take that away from them by giving them the simplest solutions possible. I guess that's the consideration and thought we put into each and every product, transaction, interaction with the customer, whereas a normal AV company isn't aware of that.
Yeah. Yep. No, I appreciate that big time. With relation to product innovation, how do you stay ahead in terms of innovation, and what's the process you go through for developing and testing new products?
Yeah, good question. I guess the way I like to stay on top of things in the industry is because we do supply globally. I've found that America, especially, and Europe, a bit below that, are way ahead of what we do with technology, not necessarily related to the fitness industry, but just in technology in general. They seem to, come through China, other parts of Asia, hit America, distributed through America, Europe, and then we get it.
Yep.
So it's actually, a case example of that is lighting. I saw the trends in lighting in America and Europe happening over there, and I said, well, this will be easy. We'll do it in Australia. Everyone's going to want it. I started bringing those systems in 7 years ago. Nobody wanted it.
Wow.
But about 2-3 years later, after the trends of America and Europe had filtered through, everyone wants lighting now.
Yep.
So, and the way I guess keep on top of that is going to global trade shows. So going to America, going to Europe, FIBO, Infocom, Ursa. All these trade shows help us get an idea of what's out there, what people are asking for, what the feedback from the industry is before it gets to Australia, because we are a bit behind, not in any sort of advancement way. We're obviously a very advanced country, but just things take a bit longer to filter here. So I guess that's how we stay on top of it. We get to those shows, we go to the shows in Asia and see what the latest tech is. How can we utilize it? Can we utilize it? Is it a benefit to our customers? Is it a benefit to our business? Is it going to make the product last longer? Is it easier to use? All these things that we have as part of our, I guess, R&D process year to year.
Yeah. With relation to testing and that kind of stuff, do you have any test venues as such where you are putting new stuff in and saying, hey guys, we want to throw this in, trial this out, see how it goes? Or is it stuff that you just go from seeing that's working overseas in other places?
No, we definitely, because we are the manufacturer, we need to test it before we can distribute it anywhere. So I do have guinea pig gyms. I'm not going to name them because they're notorious for breaking stuff. So they're the people I give test products to. So I don't want to give them a shout out. They know who they are. Thank you, guys. So we have a few sites in America, a few sites in Europe, and a few sites in Australia. So before a product's released into the market, we want to see what they come back as, in what condition they come back as after 6 months of use. 6 months in a busy 50-plus class a week studio with instructors that I know are rough and sweat a lot is a really good indicator for us whether the products is ready for mass distribution.
Yep.
So we normally do pilot runs, get about 10 to 12 of them, put them out through our US distributor, European distributor, and us, and just make sure they've been tested before we do the big run, because we can't do thousands of products, then find out 3 months down the track there's a problem with them when they get sweat on them for more than 3 months. It would kill us as a business. So yeah, there is a lot that gets put into it, and we have our guinea pig testers.
Cool. I believe, and I could be completely wrong when I say this, because the headset that actually had the battery pack on the headset itself, when I don't know if it was either before it came out or just as it came out, we were testing them at North Sydney. There was only, I think, us and maybe one or two other gyms were given some to sort of suss out and see whether it was actually working. And it was good, apart from when I lay down, when I had to do pump, and it was sort of in that position of your head. It was like, oh, right, that's a bit strange. But for indoor cycle, amazing. Yep, there was no movement of that at all. And I think Rach actually tested it. My wife tested it for attack, and it could have been a little bit bouncy from memory. But I'm talking, this is going back for 15 years ago.
Yeah, it would have been just right before we released it. So that sort of feedback that you would have given at the time back to us after you were testing it would be something we would take on board and say, well, how can we make it tighter? How can we make it not move? And obviously over the years, everything evolves. So new technology, new material comes out, new ways we can do things. We have kept the price point of our microphones the same as they were 20 years ago. Wow. That is extremely hard to do. I don't know if you can find many other products that have been for the last 20 years the same price. Like the Aeromic was $495 in 1995. It is still that same price. That's really hard as a manufacturer to do that, because everything's gone up. Right? Everything has gone up. And COVID was a big excuse for a lot of companies that supply our raw materials to say, well, the price has gone up. The price has gone up. But we do know that everyone is price conscious, and we do know that $495 and equivalently the eMic is $297. They're very crucial price points, just below 500, just below 300. So we do have a conscious decision to not put those prices up, even though we can justify it with the way inflation and everything else has gone up. So,
I appreciate that. Thank you. Technology trends. So with advances in audio technology, what trends are you seeing in the fitness industry? And are there any emerging technologies that you're particularly excited about seeing?
Look, AI is allowing us to do a lot of advanced coding behind controls and software, and what the hidden stuff that I don't see, no one sees. It's all going on in the background, allows us to do.
Yep.
So I guess an example that is not too techy that you probably can relate to, and most fitness instructors can relate to, is feedback. When you use a microphone and it starts squealing.
Yep.
Now, that's not a fault on the product. It's not a fault on the speakers. It's not a fault on the mixer, the mic. It's an environmental based problem. So either the company that installed the speakers didn't give you the right speakers, the room's really echoey, they're not positioned properly. Like us as a company have had to go and fix a lot of problems from the incorrect installer supplying speakers that should never be used with a wireless mic.
Yep.
But the instructors ring us and say, well, my mic's feeding back. There's a problem with it.
Huh.
It's not how it works.
Yep.
But we're working on things where we can add devices that can eliminate feedback. We've been working on this for a long time. We have some of the smarts built in, but it's a really complicated process, and you used to have to use a really big device. As technology progresses, these devices are getting smaller, and then instead of having to write all this manual code that's not adaptable, we can now build in some AI smarts into it to allow it to work it out as it goes and make the necessary changes. Now, I'm not saying that's a product that here it is ready to go, but these are the things when we look at advancement in technology and how we can
Yeah.
integrate it. This is what we look at as a company.
The AI still spins me out with, I was on ChatGPT earlier this morning asking it some questions, and the stuff that it gives you, if it's, I'd say what I asked was probably in the last 12 months because I had no idea. But if you go back, something that was a year or 2 or 3 years ago, there's information in there about this stuff that it knows most of it. And I'd say it's probably 98 to 99% accurate with what information it was giving me. You still obviously need to have a little bit of engagement in what it is. I wouldn't never rely, especially for what I was asking, never rely wholly and solely on the information that it was giving to me. And I think even then, with everything these days, you want to fact check. You want to make sure that what's going in there. But so that still spins me out that we're able to use that for the technology in audio and that kind of stuff. It's just, baffles my brain where we're going to be in 5 to 10 years' time.
Yeah, well, that is the scary part, because 5 years ago, AI didn't mean much to us in terms of asking it questions. Like, yes, AI has existed for a long time, but not in the format that we know it. So in another 5 years, I don't want to get too Terminator 2, I don't want to go down the Terminator 2 track, but with AI teaching AI, it's really scary in both a positive and a negative way of where it could take us.
Yep.
I do feel sorry for the children growing up now. Like, would you ever write an essay? Would you just not ask ChatGPT to write it for you? Like, I know I'd take those shortcuts when I was a kid. So,
Summarize this book for me and give me what the answer is in about 5 sentences, mate. I'm good.
And the other thing with technology is software and how. So we've been using a lot of iPads to control lighting shows and the controls of voice and music.
Yep.
So as that software allows us to do more and simplify it more and make it cleaner, it's less controls, buttons, knobs that the instructor has to touch. So a lot of the more, I guess, next level installs that we do that want the top of the range sound system, the top of range lighting package, we're putting that all into one app, one screen, where they can just change the mic volume, change the music volume, and have a whole bunch of icons to change the lighting shows. And these lighting shows then interact with the music, so what we call sound to lighting. And this is all made easier with the new software, latest software. So I couldn't do that 10 years ago. I couldn't probably even do it properly 7 years ago. It's just with the advancements of all not necessarily AI, but software related things.
On that, with the iPad, I mean, I'm a sweaty bugger when I teach. My main program was indoor cycle. I'll be sweating all over the shop. Is my hand on that iPad going to be able to adjust the music properly, or is it going to be slipping all over the shop? That would be my concern as a dribbler. As I say to my daughter, I'm Olaf, but just got my puddle going on there. That would be my concern of being on a bike and that technology too close to me. I wouldn't want to flood it.
Fair call. Look, we haven't had that issue. We do position. So for spin spin instructors, we normally put a bike mount. The iPad's up high, so any moisture that gets on there rolls off.
Comes
The
off.
good
Yep.
thing for us is that iPad make their screens really well. So
Okay.
water doesn't stop the finger moving a slider. So we normally make the sliders, we make the buttons, everything's big,
Yep.
right? So they are water resistant as well, but you can't damage glass. So I'm not worried about sweat on the glass. It's a
Yep.
bit different when you got an opening for a microphone where sweat can get in there. With an
Sure.
iPad, the glass does all the protection for you.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, maybe if you're really sweaty, you can't push that dial anymore, but I haven't heard it, and we've got a lot of
Yeah.
studios using it.
No, look, that's as I said, I haven't taught in a while now. I was going to tell people then. No, I haven't taught in a while. But that would be, as I said, that my concern. I'm used to having the volume for my volume of my music and my
Yeah.
mic. But yeah, look, if I do get back into teaching, then I'm sure that's what I'll need to experience, and it's just a change that I need to adapt to. Which I would say that any studio that's out there, if they have the old technology and they look to upgrade and get new stuff in there, just adapt. Yep, it's okay. We can adapt. We can change. I know no one likes change, but change is a good thing. And if it's going to be giving you a better environment, and a better sound system, and better quality experience in your studio, guys, roll with it.
Yeah,
Yep, it's been done for a reason.
that's exactly right. And not everyone goes for that option. We still have a large portion of our market that want the simplified volume controls, and that's why we do offer all those things.
This is the GROUPEX podcast.
Mate, next question here is on sustainability. How is Fitness Audio addressing sustainability in its product design and materials, given the fitness industry's increasing focus on eco-friendly solutions?
Yeah, that's a good question. Look, we have to, as a manufacturer, there's certain requirements when you choose products, where they come from. Are they ROH&S? Are they able to be recycled? And we are conscious in our decisions of where we choose what to get.
Yep.
But we also are under a lot of guidelines with compliance, especially importing and exporting products out of Australia. We're
Sure.
lucky in this country that Australia are strict on these sort of things. So you can't just go to China and use whatever material and just sell it. It
Yep.
has to come under a certain certification, which is ROH&S.
Yep.
And it also has to be, it can't damage the environment if it's, put into the ground and things like that.
For sure. Yep.
So thankfully, we haven't had many issues on that side of things.
Yep.
Yeah, we just try and make conscious decisions whenever it's put in front of us as to what's the better option. So
Yeah. Yep. No, appreciate that. That sort of comes off the back end of a conversation I had recently with the guys from Body Bike, because their latest technology or the latest bikes are being manufactured with recycled ABS plastics and that kind of stuff. And to me, obviously from being there for almost 7 years, it was a fantastic thing for us to be doing then, and also to see them still continuing to do into the future as well, especially when there's that much plastic on a bike. To have that sort of stuff there to encase it all, I think was absolutely brilliant, and nice to know that they were one of the first in the industry in the indoor cycle space to be able to get out there and do it. So yeah, nice to hear that you guys are keeping in what you've got to do and doing something there.
the other thing we do is all materials that come back, like a microphone, a mixer, something that's 10 years old, can't be used anymore. We recycle it through e-waste. I don't know if you've heard of
Yes.
e-waste.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a company down the road from us, and we do a run there every 6 months and take old TVs, old microphones, and I don't know how they reuse them, but they reuse them or they
Yep.
recycle them in a safe manner. So that makes us feel a bit more conscious about not just throwing a bunch of cables and microphones into a bin and who knows where it ends up.
Yeah. No, brilliant. Signature products. What are some of Fitness Audio's signature products that really set you apart from any other audio equipment providers?
Okay, so our Aeromic is our flagship microphone. We're really proud of it. It's a handmade microphone. It's made right here in Sydney, Australia, distributed in over 28 countries around the world. It's the only microphone on the market with a 2-year warranty against sweat death. and that warranty is for up to 50 classes. So you will not find another microphone manufacturer in the world that I know of. I'd like to be stood corrected, but I don't think you'll find it, who will offer you a 2-year warranty against sweat death. Some companies like that is that a Rode, Shure
Sure.
mic?
Yep.
Yep, that probably does have a 2 or 3 year warranty.
Yep.
But if you told them you were sweating all over it and the damage, corrosion was caused via sweat, it would void the warranty.
Okay.
So I guess that is definitely one of our, what we're proud of, claim to fame, is that we've got that product, and it is Australian made. It does become harder and harder to make products in Australia and keep our price point down, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So that's definitely our flagship product. And same with our transmitters, our fitness audio range. That's got a 2-year warranty. Our belt pack transmitters has a 2-year warranty against sweat death. No other manufacturer does that for their transmitters.
Yep. Brilliant. The next question I had here, I think we've already answered, but I'm going to throw it at you anyway.
Yeah.
Fitness spaces can be tough environments for equipment with humidity, sweat, and frequent use. How does your product lineup address? How does your product lineup address these challenges in terms of durability and performance? I'm going to say you've answered it. I know it. I think most people that have ever tried your product out or used your product understand, what comes with it all. But is there anything you want to add to that?
Look, without giving away some trade secrets, I'll just, because there are other manufacturers that don't get it right. We've had people copy us and try, and it doesn't last. There are things we do to our products that no one else does, and this allows them to last in these environments.
Perfect. Yep.
And I'll just keep it there because I have addressed the other stuff.
There's nothing I need to bleep, is there?
No. I nearly said something.
Thanks for letting out.
Yeah. No, we use products that no one would think to use on their electronics. Put it that way.
Cool. Yep. Makes sense. That's all we need to know. Wireless microphones are a big part of your product lineup. What advancements have you made in wireless technology for fitness instructors?
So recently we've released our digital 2.4 gigahertz mic system. That's got some auto, what I touched on yesterday, a bit of feedback elimination.
Yep.
I don't want to get everyone too excited. It's not like your room's terrible, your speakers are terrible, and the mic makes it magic. But it does allow for the delay in digital processing, which is unnoticeable, to get rid of some of the nasties. So if you had some slight tweaks, slight peaks, in feedback, this will try and get rid of them and reduce them more than the older systems.
Yep.
So I guess that is one thing, and with that same system comes with a drop-in charger. So a lot of issues happen with mics when instructors are ripping out batteries, closing them. You would know all about this, and a lot of instructors would. So we developed a drop-in charger for the transmitters. So no need to remove the batteries, drop it in, teach a class, drop it in, grab the next one, next instructor grabs the next one, and away they go.
Away they go. Oh, mate. Where was that?
You're inspired to get back on the bike now.
Yeah, the 9-volt battery that I'd test and lick and see, that works. Yeah, okay.
Well, don't get me wrong. A lot of people still use those because they are one of the most robust transmitters, right? So, with advancements in technology and new developments, there are always a little sacrifice.
Yeah. So. Yep. Funnily enough, on that, I remember that we had whatever the transistor was that had the small 9-volt battery.
Yep.
At North Sydney, we then changed over to whatever the newer version was that had the AA's, AAA's, whatever those batteries are. But that frequency interrupted with something else in our building in North Sydney because that building was 13 stories, 14 stories high. There was somewhere within that building that were doing something with a very similar frequency that every time we turned it on, we would pick up other sounds and other stuff going through. So we got rid of that and went back to the original ones, which was absolutely brilliant. They worked and worked and worked. I don't know if that's probably still there now. I'd say they've probably upgraded everything. Well, you want to hope they would have up by now. But back then, those things were indestructible. They just kept going.
They still do. We have purposely not. I know the transmitter you're talking about. It's in my showroom. We still sell it today because there are so many gyms, both here and globally, that use it, and they've changed. They've tried other brands, and they're fancy, and they've got battery indicators, and they do all the bells and whistles, but they don't last.
Yeah.
So even though that rectangle 9-volt one is ugly and there's nothing it tells you about except an on and off button. It works, and it works for a long time. So
Yeah.
people do like that. There's a point where they don't care about how pretty it is or what features it has. It's like, I want to turn it on and I want it to work. Well, there's no stronger transmitter on the market than that one. And that's why we haven't changed it. I do trade shows and people say, oh, you still got this thing? Why haven't you updated it? Well, we're not updating it because it's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, like
Don't need to.
here's the more modern version. This is what it looks like. You can get it.
Yep.
But it's not going to last 10 years like this one did. I'll just be honest with you. You know, it might get 5, 6, 7 years, but this one will keep going.
Yep.
So I guess, it's interesting you said that.
Yeah, no, it's good. And to me, I think it's a good thing to hear that product that I was using 20 years ago is still around. You know, it shows a hell of a lot for your brand and the reputation of the products that are out there as well, man. So I'm tick some boxes for me. Customization.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go for it.
You touched on something about frequency and the interference.
Yes.
So that's always something we have to be conscious of, because we can't sell mic systems that are illegal frequencies. So in certain suburbs, we stock 5 different frequencies, because in certain suburbs around the country, and I'll just talk about Australia because it's a whole nother kettle of fish in America and Europe.
Yeah.
We can't. So when a customer orders something, we can go onto a website and check what frequencies are in their area and how legal or if they're illegal. So we do follow those rules as part of our process, where I've seen other people get caught with like, just ship me that mic, it'll work. And then all of a sudden they're in trouble with Vodafone because it's on the same frequency. Or, and then in our digital stuff, we actually build in inbuilt smarts where it auto hops between frequencies if it finds any interference. So again, software, AI, as it advances, that is happening with our latest digital product. Is that, in your case in point, when you're in a busy North Sydney building and it's got interference on this channel, we've got 80 channels where it can hop between them and get the cleanest signal, and it's all happening seamlessly, and you wouldn't even know what channel it's on or how it's it just happens. So that was a really cool feature we brought in about 2 years ago now.
Yep. It's interesting because I just went through something similar, because I've got a portable PA system that I use. Sometimes I do MC stuff or events and that kind of stuff that I take with me. Now, I got a mic. I won't tell you which brand it was because it wasn't an Aeromic, because I'm not, it's a normal handheld type thing. But I digress.
I'm not offended. You're not sweating on it. Don't worry. If you were sweating on it, I'd be offended.
Yeah, it'd probably die if I was sweating on it. I wouldn't come and grab something from you.
You'd come back to me anyway. That's what I.
But I had to go through the same thing. I jumped on that website and had a look, because the frequencies down here in Wollongong, where I am, were quite different to where I purchased it from. Now, where I purchased it from, great, it was all working. But then I went, oh, hang on. I need to check to make sure that certain areas around here are going to allow me to use that. And because we're in a bit of a hilly area, there are certain areas where it wouldn't work, and then there are certain areas where it would, where I was allowed to use it. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And that helped me choose the product that I chose, because I needed to make sure it was going to work in the majority of areas down here. So it's one thing for clubs, as you've touched on as well, and I'll say, if you're going to upgrade your system, make sure that is something that you have a chat to Andrew about here, to make sure that it is correct and you're not going to have that interference, because there's nothing more annoying for a group exercise instructor to flick their mic on and you're hearing something else that's not them. It's like, what? Shut up, I can't hear myself. So, fun and games. Instructor feedback. What kind of feedback do you typically get from fitness instructors who use the products, and how do their needs shape your product development?
Well, we get honest feedback from instructors. Sometimes, most of the time it's positive. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to operate as a business as long as we have. But sometimes we do get constructive criticism around our products. Things like, I guess, what you touched on earlier about, it was a bit wobbly, and we do take that all on board. So when we do get feedback that, I guess, contradicts what we want as a brand and a product, then we will take it on board and see if it's something we can evolve. Can we make it better? And myself mainly these days, we go over to the factories once a year. We sit down with them. These are the things that came up during the year. What can we do better as manufacturers to improve on these? So we do like feedback. I will, like I said, I've been doing this 20 years. 9 times out of 10, education is the problem with our products.
Yep.
The instructor not knowing what to do and how to do it. And normally we find 1 or 2 conversations with the group fitness manager, the owner, whoever's in charge. And we've got videos online on our YouTube channel, Fitness Audio, of how to put on the microphone, how to take
Yep.
off the battery cover, how to put in the battery. All these little things, they seem so minute, but when you're putting in a microphone the wrong way and you're doing 7 classes a day, 7 days a week, after 1 month, you've done 200 classes of putting that in and out the wrong way.
Yep.
So fixing that one little thing, well, you're not meant to twist it. You're meant to line it up first and put it in. Now, all of a sudden, the mic connector has no wear on it. Now, all of a sudden, we're not getting problems with it.
Yep.
So we do find education is key. But hearing feedback does help us know whether it's an education issue or a product issue.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, I'm probably being a bit generous. It's probably 99 times out of 100. It's an education thing.
Yep. Now, it leads me into the next question I've got here around troubleshooting. Are there common audio issues or challenges that fitness studios face, and how do you guys help studios troubleshoot these problems?
Fitness instructors are our biggest hurdle with audio products. No offense.
None taken. We know we're bad with it. We just get on and work. Why isn't it working? Come on, I've got a class to teach. It's one of those we don't think, and we're I think, as I said earlier on, we count to 8.
Yeah, I've heard some of them get to 9.
Stop.
No. Oh, look, we know what we do as a brand and what our products are like. And the reality is that it is about the instructor's interaction with the products that hurts us the most. The products that are in the AV rack, your mixer, your Bluetooth receiver, your microphone receiver, ask anybody when's the last time they sent one of those into us. And it doesn't happen. The reason it doesn't happen is because no one's touching them. Yeah. No one's sweating them. No one's dropping them. No one's ripping at them. No one's spinning, doing their class and they rip the mic, right? Yep. So a lot of it is based around wear and tear that sometimes wear and tear is just non-avoidable. That happens over time. But some things are, just being too rough with it. Yep. So our biggest hurdle I think that's what your question was. Sorry, I got a bit sidetracked. Our biggest hurdle is just making sure that the people who use our products understand how to use them correctly and what they're doing and does affect the whole product lifespan, I guess.
Yeah. My advice here to any instructors that are watching right now or listening to this right now, if you're unsure, jump onto the YouTube channel. Yeah, jump on, watch a video. The video is going to go for a short period of time, as Andrew was just saying, but watch it, understand it, so you get it right. Yeah. If you, as instructors, can make sure that what you're doing is correct, you're going to get more longevity out of that product and have less downtime. Doesn't take much.
No. And I've got 20
take a bit of self.
Yeah, sorry. I've got, 20 years of experience of having people with faulty mics time and time again, and then we realize, well, we just need to re-educate, and then all of a sudden I don't hear from them.
Yep.
So I've seen it be like, real world use cases, right? Where I re-educate, we bring in a rotation system for the mics, watch these videos, and all of a sudden I don't get a phone call from them. So, it does work, but education's key.
Yep. This one, I think, relates to a little bit of an answer you gave me a little bit earlier on, but growth within the industry. How have you seen the fitness industry change over the last few years, and how has fitness audio adapted to those changes?
Well, I guess the last few years, as an example, I reckon pre-COVID, personally, the more jobs we were doing were boutique studios. Big box tended to be dying out.
Yep.
Your big 24-hour gyms, especially in America and in Australia, definitely, they were sort of getting quieter, and boutique studios were on the rise. I think there's, I've read articles about it. I think that's, factual.
Yep.
But I'm going with my opinion on where our customers came from.
Yeah.
And then post-COVID, that took a big shift. The boutique studios started to get slower, and the big box gyms had a revival. Now, whether that's cost conscious, whether it's space conscious, do they want to, at that time, everyone was really paranoid. So yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen a big shift back into the big box gyms. Not to say there's not a space for boutique gyms, there definitely is. You know, we have a lot of relationships with boutique companies, and we love those relationships. They're a bit more personal. So that's the shift I've seen within the industry itself. As for how the fitness industry interacts with an AV company and what they're asking for, lighting's the biggest shift.
Yep.
You know, like 5-6 years ago, I would never get an inquiry about lighting. Now we get multiple a day. It's just everyone wants to set themselves apart. It's not only, I mean, it is cool. Like, it looks amazing. It translates really well on socials. Like, if I put a really good sound system into your spin studio, it's great for the members and it's great for the owners and the instructor. But on socials, it's as good as the speaker on their iPhone is, right?
Yeah.
But when you put light in and you put that onto an Instagram video,
Yep.
it looks amazing. So people understand what they're paying for with lighting. So people have been, or the industry has definitely transitioned to allowing a budget for lighting, whereas that was never a consideration before.
Yeah.
When I was trying to bring that in early on, everyone thought, oh, I was crazy. Like, no one's going to spend money on lights. Why do you need lights?
Yep.
But there is also more scientific background behind lighting as well, where it can, we all know, mood lighting, you know, you can enhance an experience. Like, I've done yoga studios where we can change the whole color of the room to green. And if you do that versus hospital lights, bright white, it's a completely different mental complex, mental, you know, experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I relate it to, you go to a concert. Yep. Let's just say the band's up on stage, to black background, and that's it. Yep. There's white lighting everywhere. Yay. You know what? Yeah, you're into the music. And that's why you're there. Yeah, fantastic. But when there's a bit of lighting that happens, and a little bit of atmosphere that's created around, it changes the whole feel, the whole dynamics of what's going on. You know, it's I haven't been to a live gig in a while. I'm going to one on Friday night with my wife because we decided, bugger it, little person can go. We're going to go out and have some fun. I'm looking forward to it because of the images and stuff that I've seen, as you said, on social media. This place where we're going to looks absolutely amazing because of the atmosphere that they're creating along with the band that's going to be there. Mate, I can't wait. I can't wait to see, because it does have that huge impact. I was, a couple of weekends ago, I went to visit a gym down here in Wollongong, a little bit further south from where I am, and amazing. You guys have done your stuff in there, and absolutely amazing. Blew my mind. I hadn't been into a studio, and it was a cycle studio that looks as good as what that place does. Yeah. Now, I didn't ride a class. I was just there helping someone do some education stuff. Absolutely amazing. You know, from the other centres that are around this area, and this sounds bad like I'm bagging them out, but I was a member at one of the other ones here in town, that it was white. Yep. It was an old squash court, just white. There was nothing else in there. There was no atmosphere. Music was great. The bikes were fantastic because they were body bike. But, there was nothing else there, and it lacks so much. I walked in here and I wasn't even teaching. There was music, background music was playing, but the lights and everything were moving. It was, wow, this is a destination. This is somewhere where I wanted to go and train without even knowing what was going to be going on in that space. So it definitely does. And it's nice to hear that you guys are actually on the forefront of that as well, and looking at, and clubs are starting to realize that that's how they can make a difference. Gone are the days of the mirrors. Gone are the days of the as you said, the hospital lighting. Yeah. Well, need to go.
Every industry is competitive. Every industry has competitors, and if you can set yourself apart by having something that's a wow factor like lighting, then the owners are willing to pay for it these days, because it does make a difference.
Yeah.
You experienced it firsthand going into that studio. There is a feeling, there is an aura about a studio that's done well. And then if you complement that with audio that sounds amazing, that's the best experience for someone going to the gym. It helps motivate them. I've heard of people go to classes where the mic's feeding back and the audio sounds terrible. They don't want to go there. They don't. But then you go to one that sounds nice and there's no reverb and the speakers are clear, the instructor's voice are clear, and then you complement that with lighting. It is a game changer. I work out at places like that. So
yeah.
This is the GROUPEX podcast.
Yeah. The I just want to move over this way a little bit from on what you've just said there. With relation to speakers, there's obviously there's a range of different types of speakers and different styles of speakers, that kind of stuff. And there's studios that I've been in before where there's so much treble and there's absolutely zero bass. But then you go into some other ones and there's so much bass and there's hardly any treble. When you're designing a studio with speakers and that kind of stuff, is it designed around the budget, or is it designed around the, I suppose, the experience and the atmosphere we're trying to create in there, or is it a bit of column A and a bit of column B?
Yeah, well, it has to be a bit of column A and column B, because there's no use me designing a $15,000 sound system that's going to be that sounds amazing, but your budget's $5,000.
Yep.
But it is from our standpoint as a company, we need to manage expectations of what they're paying for. There are times where the budget just doesn't meet what they're trying to achieve or what they need, and then we step away. It's not worth us. Like, we're not in the business for one sale. It's been a motto of mine, for over a decade. I never want to sell one thing to one person. I want them to be our customer forever.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, that's longevity in business. So when we're coming up with a situation where the customer doesn't have a realistic budget, or they have a realistic budget but they want to create the opera house, but they really only barely paying for background music, then if that can't come to some sort of little bit of column A, like column B, like you mentioned, then we'll just step away. But we do know the levels of speakers we can put into studios where we are happy that they will sound good based on the size of the room and the type of teachings. So, for example, if there's a yoga studio, I can put, and they're like, oh, we don't pump nightclub sound. We just want to have good sounding music, good quality voice. Then I can do that a lot cheaper than someone who comes to me and says, well, I'm doing a spin room and I want it to sound like a nightclub and I want a big subwoofer and it's got to be blaring. I can't do that on that budget. So it is managing what the customer's needs are, what's going to be right for them, and then meeting in the middle with budget.
Speakers in ceiling compared to speakers on walls. Is there a... so you say no to speakers on walls and put them in the ceiling? Is that
No. This is a big pet hate of mine. Big pet hate of mine. Because I have to deal with the AV guys that go, like, ceiling speakers, there are very rare situations you should ever use them in group fitness, in my opinion. They can work, but they are a nightmare. Okay, so first of all, a ceiling speaker, walking it under it with a high quality microphone, you will get feedback. You can get rid of it, but every time you get rid of nasties, you get rid of audio quality. So I can make any mic not feed back under any speaker, but at what cost? Right? So first of all, I use ceiling speakers for toilets and reception. Right? That's what they're really good for. Low level music with no one using microphones. So I have done studios with ceiling speakers because people are adamant that they have to be ceiling speakers or that they're a softer environment. But if you came to me and said, I want to do a spin studio and I want it to sound amazing and I want it to pump, but I only want to do it with ceiling speakers, I would just say, we're not the company for you. That's, there are some situations, yoga room, dance room, Pilates room, they're not going overboard. I can get away with it. But it is a bit of a pet hate of mine because I've seen these people spend, owners, mum and dad owners spend good money on a sound system with someone else, buy a mic system off us later on. It sounds terrible. It's feeding back. They shouldn't have went with the ceiling speakers.
I'll come and blame you because I think it's the microphone, not actually the...
Correct. There's a problem with the microphone. It's feeding back.
And
I think we started on that point almost. So for me, always wall-mounted speakers. Always.
I like hearing that. It's ticks all my boxes with everything that I've ever learnt, understood about the audio and that kind of stuff. There was one studio in Sydney, and I think those of my listeners that will remember that particular studio in a certain CBD location in Sydney that went from having speakers on the walls and then having to move it into the ceiling, and then the complaints from the people in the floors above because of the sound that was vibrating off the columns going up, and then it was even worse from the ceiling, and it was a dead set nightmare for a long period of time. I think we ended up leaving Sydney shortly after all of that and moved down to Canberra for a bit. So I don't know what the outcome was, but I just remember my wife being part of the management team there, and it was a dead set nightmare altogether. So, yeah, guys, you heard it here from Andrew, and I'll say it as well. Don't put ceiling speakers in. Put them in your toilet and put them in reception, as Andrew said, but not in a Group X room. Make it sound proper in a Group X room and have the atmosphere and the environment that you're actually looking for, and push your budget a little bit further so it can get there as well.
Yeah.
So, global reach, man. Fitness Audio is an Australian company, but your products, as you said earlier on, are used globally. How do you manage your international presence and ensure that your products meet standards and needs of diverse markets?
Well, we have a really strong US distributor and a really strong European distributor. So they are our main distributor in those two regions. They fly the flag for us over there. They're part of the Fitness Audio brand, so we work on product development together. We, like you said, there are certain standards, like there's certain certification we need to bring a product into Australia, uh, power supplies for the receipt, all these sort of things that you have to legally have them certified to make sure that they pass Australian standards. That same process, which is not cheap, doesn't work in Europe. So then we need to do one for the European market, or that same one doesn't work for America. So we do, as part of all procedures when new products come out, make sure that they are compliant. In terms of reach, social media and trade shows. Social media has made it really easy to get the word out there for everybody. So we can run ads and update our followers on what new developments are coming out in different regions and customize those for those regions. We still find trade shows globally are really good for that. We are at FIBO every year. URSA in America is a really good fitness trade show. And any other ones that come up along the way that we're jumping on, we do one in Australia, Australian Fitness Expo, obviously. And, just being there, talking to people, getting our brand out there, showing them the new products and hearing from them. I think that's what helps us just stay relevant in a market that's very, I guess, competitive.
Yeah. Can you give us a sneak peek into any upcoming products or innovations that Fitness Audio is currently working on, or is it all no, Tony, go away? Can't talk about that today.
If you press pause, I can. No.
No, I'm not recording. I promise.
So this is a friendly chat. It's good.
No, it's all right.
No. We're always developing. We always want to do new products. One of the things that we've noticed is becoming more and more of an issue is loudness monitoring within venues.
Yep.
OH&S safety levels in terms of what an instructor can listen to, and which is an employee. How loud can that music be for how long of a period?
Yep.
So we're working on a product at the moment which will monitor these levels. You'll be able to create reports as the business owner of where those levels are at.
Interesting.
And also when you have like complaints from neighbours and council, etc., which I'm sure everyone's got a story about, whether it's secondhand or not.
Yep.
Sometimes they're unfair on the actual fitness studio, and it sounds like it's loud, but it's just because they're picking on them because they're the only one playing music.
Yeah.
But when we can record the levels in a certain space over a 30-day period and average it out, that will help owners having problems with compliance in terms of noise levels.
Yeah. There's been a couple of studios that I've been involved with over the years where we've had issues, and as you said, I'm sure that most people have a story or something like that they can relate to with that. So that sounds like an amazing thing that I think a lot of venues will jump on as well. So well done. Nice. Vision for the future. What does the future look like for Fitness Audio, and how do you envision the company evolving over the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
Look, if we were in the same position we are now in 5 to 10 years, I'd be very happy with that. We pride ourselves on how we interact with customers as a company, how reliable our products are. We can sell our products with confidence. So as long as we keep on that trajectory, then I'll be happy. We want to make sure that every product we put out there with our brand and name on it, and every fit out we do, and every light we sell, that everything is of top-notch quality and that we don't sacrifice that just to get a job. It's really important to us to have long-term customers. I can't tell you the amount of people that I dealt with 15 years ago who bought a pouch belt off us, and then they bought a microphone off us, and then they open their own studio 10 years later, and we do the lighting and audio. You know,
Yep.
as a business owner, that makes me feel proud as a company that client we went on the journey with them. They went
Yeah.
from, being an instructor, just needing a belt, then to get their own mic,
Yeah.
and then to get their own studio. It's, there's something around that's pretty nice. So if we can keep that as a company, I'll be happy. And
Yeah.
just make sure we're bringing out the latest products for everyone, make sure that things become easier to use somehow so that instructors don't have to worry about things. That's,
Yeah.
what we do as a business, and that's what I want to continue to do.
Nice to hear. On that, the instructors buying mics, are you seeing, since the thing that I don't like talking about, when the world shut down, I don't like talking about it.
For that cold, yeah.
Yeah, that thing, and yeah, that anyway. Have you found that more and more instructors are buying their own headset and they're buying their own mics and that kind of stuff, or mainly just the windsocks, or have you seen an increase in those sort of sales since that time?
Yeah, massively. So prior to 2020, we'll say, I won't say the event. I don't want to get in trouble. I already mentioned it once. Sorry, Tony. Prior to that, it was very rare for the individual instructor to buy their own mic.
Yep.
It was always the gym's responsibility. I know a lot of owners tried to do, I'll give everyone their own mic, blah, blah, blah. But short answer is yes, massively the increase of individual instructors buying their own mics. Like, I couldn't put a percentage on it, but it would be thousands of %.
Yep.
It went from maybe 1 in 50 to now it's closer to 25, 20, like 50-50.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, so yeah, it's really, and the good thing for us is once an instructor buys their own mic, they've paid for it.
Yeah.
It's amazing that mic doesn't come back for a long time.
Yeah.
They're the only one using it. They pack it up nicely. They plug it in nicely. So yeah, that's increased. Windsock sales have increased for sure. These are all, I'm a bit of a germaphobe. My wife will be the first to tell you that, but I didn't know how people would use mics without changing the foam ball or having their own headset. Right? I could never understand that.
Yep.
That was not a thought for 99 out of 100 people prior to that.
Yes.
Post that, it became a very conscious decision for people.
Yep.
So there are not many studios that will not run without spare foam balls. Every instructor's got their own foam ball at the very least.
Yep.
50% have just gone and got their own mics.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We have two here. My wife and I haven't taught for a few years, but they're still here because you never know. Yeah, you just never ever know. One day there's a Tupperware container, as they call it, the plastic container that's up there that has both of them in, and a whole lot of the balls or the mics, whatever the windsock type thing is, that are sitting there. That because you never know, man. One day
that Shaw mic might break, and you'll have to quickly plug it in.
Yeah, I'm going to be the whole Madonna thing again. Instead of the radio announcer, I'll be back into strike a pose.
You get some flashy lights behind you, some wall-mounted speakers.
Yeah. I need to get you to come down. You need to sort out my studio for me. Brilliant. Now, mate, there's two more questions I want to throw at you here. And first one is about advice for fitness businesses. What advice would you give to fitness studio owners or group fitness instructors looking to improve their audio experience in their classes?
What I would say is come to us with a plan of what you're trying to achieve, what you didn't like about your last system or what you want to create from your new system. How you want it to feel in the studio for the members, that's important to us, because if someone needs a soft sound, then we don't need to put nightclub speakers in there. So we need to understand how you want the class to sound and feel for your members, and how you want your instructor to use the system. How much influence you want them to have on the sound system. Also, I always say this, and I've said it to a lot of customers before: if your budget's not quite there, save a bit more and get the right system. There's nothing worse than going with the cheap guys and putting in a cheap system and dealing with the issues later. I
Yep.
always say to people, if you think a professional is expensive, wait until you use an amateur. And I've experienced this firsthand so many times where, we're at X price and they say, well, Joe Blow's AV can do it for this price. And I'm like, I'm not making you go with us.
Yep.
You got to do what's right for your budget.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
they go with them and then they end up spending way more than they would have went with me to fix
Yep.
all the issues.
Yeah.
So I would always say, wait a bit longer, save a bit extra, and let's do it right. Because
Yeah.
I don't want to supply something that's not right.
Yeah. When you say that, there's an image in my head that I've seen on social media of a bricklayer, and there's an image there of my mate can do it cheaper. And it's of these bricks that are completely all over the shop because, his mate's gone, yeah, I'm a brickie, I can do that for you.
Yeah.
Where, you know what, if you'd spent money right in the first place, you'd have what you wanted. So it's, totally on board with what you said then. And I'll reiterate that as well to venues. If you don't quite have it, save up a bit, deal with what you've got for now. You've had it for such a long period of time. If you're going to invest once to make sure that the impact you make, especially for your members, is better than what you've currently got, because you don't want to put something in and then go, well, that was crap. Our members are now going, why did you even bother?
Yeah.
Or we don't notice the difference. Make sure whatever you invest in is better than what you've currently got at the moment.
Exactly right.
Now, there was another question I was going to ask, and it's completely gone from my head. So I'm going to throw it to you. Is there anything else that we should be letting viewers know about that we haven't touched on yet?
I think we've pretty much covered all facets. They've been great questions. Thanks, Tony. I will reiterate the fact around education. I don't think enough owners know how much the interaction of the microphones with the instructors play a part on how everything sounds, how long it lasts, and you can avoid avoidable costs by just having a bit more education. So if anyone is listening and is unsure about what I mean or where to get that, please reach out to us. Our website is fitnessaudioshop.com.au. You can find us there. You can find troubleshooting page. All our manuals to all our products are on there. All our social links are on that website. So jump onto the YouTube channel. There's a whole bunch of videos, simple ones of how to put a mic in and out. I know that sounds easy, but there's so many ways to do it wrong. And I guess if the people who pay the bills, the owners, the GFMs who's responsible for these bills, if they can spend a bit more time around, I know you've all got WhatsApp chats. Let's put it on their WhatsApp chats for all the group fitness instructors, and a little bit more education, like 5 minutes can go a long way with saving your mics and getting the use out of them. You should. We know they're not cheap products. They are quality products, and we want you to get the full use out of it. And sometimes your staff let you down. So,
Love it. Andrew, thank you for being you. Thank you for coming on and having a chat with me, mate. I've honestly, and I say it to everyone, but you know what? I mean it, because I actually love doing this stuff, and I love sitting down talking to people about the industry that I'm so passionate about and different aspects of it. So, man, from me to you, thank you so much for coming and chatting to me.
Likewise, Tony. I really appreciate it. It's been nice to have this conversation. I don't get to do this often, so thank you very much.
All good.